Hello and welcome. Here you can see the startup and settings of the TireMoni TM-100 and TM-210. First you see an overview, then we go through the individual steps. The easiest way is to do the steps in this order. First, the system is commissioned and set up. Then comes the installation on the vehicle. Before going live, let's take a quick look at what was delivered. You should have the following in front of you: the display device, 2 AAA batteries, the cigarette lighter cable, a suction cup holder, for sensors, for CR1632 button cells, for anti-theft rings and an Allen key. In addition, a detailed manual is included, in which everything is described as well. Commissioning takes place in 2 simple steps. First, the batteries are inserted and the device is switched on with the slide switch. When the display device is switched on, you can already see a lot on the display. You see 4 pressure values, and under each one a number. This can be found on the sensor. In the corner next to each value is a radio icon, and that's important. If this does not appear, then no data is being received from this sensor. This is almost always due to the sensor battery being dead. Before this happens, however, a small battery symbol appears next to the sensor as a warning. In the middle is the display of the pressure unit and an antenna symbol. This flashes when data is received. There are 3 buttons to the right of the window. The top button takes you to the menu and settings, and you can mute the warning tones. With the middle button you can display the temperature values of the sensors. The corresponding measurement unit then appears in the middle. The bottom button turns on the backlight. Now comes step 2, insert the batteries into the sensors one after the other. Now each sensor reports to the display device one after the other, and it beeps every time a sensor is detected. At the same time, the radio symbol appears in the corner next to the displayed value. Of course, it's still 0 now because the sensors don't detect any pressure. When all 4 sensors have reported and are connected, you can set the device according to your requirements. To do this, press the top button for 5 seconds and the device goes to the settings menu. First, the pressure unit is set. The default is kPa, and a short press on one of the lower buttons takes you to the next or previous unit. You can choose between kPa, psi, bar and kilograms per square centimeter. If that is suitable, a short press of the top button will take you to the next setting for the temperature unit. Use the 2 bottom buttons to choose between Celsius and Fahrenheit. The next short press on the top button will lead to the setting of the lower pressure warning threshold for the first axle. The default is 1.79 bar, and you can use the bottom buttons to increase or decrease the value until it suits you. We recommend approximately 3 to 5 psi below your cold inflation pressure. The next setting, short press on top button, leads to the setting of the upper pressure warning threshold for the first axle. As before, use the lower buttons to change the value until it suits you. We recommend 14 psi above your cold inflation pressure. Next comes the setting for the upper temperature warning threshold for the first axle. Same game as before, use the lower buttons to set the value. We recommend using the factory settings. The next short press on the top button will take you to the second axle and the lower pressure warning threshold. Again, use the lower buttons to set the value. Then use the top button to select the upper pressure warning threshold for the second axle and set the value with the 2 bottom buttons. Last but not least, press the top button again and you get to the temperature warning threshold for the second axle. Set as desired or leave the defaults. The next short press on the top button exits the menu and you are done with the settings. Now screw the sensors onto the valves. 1 is front left, 2 is front right, 3 is rear left and 4 is rear right, and look for a nice place in the cockpit for the display device. With the suction cup holder you can attach it anywhere on a flat surface. If you want, you can install the anti-theft device with the sensors. This is optional and not a requirement for the function of the system. First, the anti-theft ring is placed over the valve with the contour facing outwards. Then the sensor is screwed on. The anti-theft ring is pressed onto the sensor from below and turned until the contour snaps into place on the sensor, and then the Allen screw is tightened. Please do not screw too tight, otherwise you might damage the valve. Now you'll get an alert anytime the pressure is too high or too low. or when the temperature is too high depending on your chosen warning thresholds. The sensors go into sleep mode if the vehicle is stationary for more than 20 minutes. They wake up again when you've driven a few meters. The display also switches to sleep mode after about 20 minutes of inactivity to save battery. Finally, a function that you will probably only need very rarely, in order to pair a new sensor. If one should be defective or lost, you press the top button for a longer time. After 5 seconds the settings mode appears. Keep pressing for 5 more seconds and the display will enter the learning mode. In this mode LEN is displayed in all 4 positions. If you now insert the battery into a sensor, it will be paired at its position, respectively sensor number, and the previously connected sensor will be replaced. Have fun and always have a safe journey with your new TireMoni.